It's a damn shame that Woody Allen fucks his own daughter, and probably sexually assaulted his stepdaughter when she was just a child, because it makes it really difficult to look at his deeply personal films and not see his creepy fucking pederast handprints all over it. It makes it really hard to believe the guy isn't a gross kid fucker when he keeps making films about beautiful, barely legal women falling improbably in love with bitter old men who are near reclusive and very obvious proxies for Allen himself. This is the challenge in watching Woody Allen movies now. How much do we excuse our geniuses and their indiscretions, their appetites, that I suppose us mere mortal non-geniuses just don't understand? Whatever works is the story of Boris Yelnikov, brilliant physicist played by Larry David, was gifted with a huge intellect that he uses to withering effect on everyone around him. He feels surrounded by morons and has no trouble being vocal about it. No one is spared. He humiliates the inchworms around him at every opportunity and reminds them how stupid they are compared to his massive mental prowess. He does this with his dwindling circle of friends. He does this with strangers. He does this with kids he attempts to teach chess to. It's like this mix of Allen-like neurotic and recluse asshole, Larry David social blunder asshole, and that smug Mensa asshole, all packaged up into this ultra-concentrated asshole speedball delivered right into your main line. Boris feels the world as a hopeless cesspool of morons and schmohawks, unworthy of his beautiful mind. After a failed suicide, he divorces and moves out on his own to abuse kids under the guise of teaching them chess. He soon meets a very young and lost southern girl named Melody, who has just come to big bad New York to escape her rural existence, her ultra-religious family, and find her dreams in the big city. She's homeless and living in an alley near his apartment, and she manages to persuade him to let her stay. Of course, we know this is where this is going. Because this is a movie, suddenly this gorgeous young woman finds herself attracted to a bitter old misanthrope who condescends to her and insults her at every turn. Women apparently love verbally abusive assholes with a superiority complex. Who knew? At first, Boris resists her charms due to his devotion to isolation and his conviction that he is a gross old man with nothing to offer a young woman, but eventually he crumbles before her charms, and they marry. Naturally, here comes trouble in paradise as Melody's mother arrives on the scene, and soon a younger, more attractive suitor catches her eye. Things get complicated, and yada yada yada, everybody learns a valuable lesson. I can relate to Boris to some degree. I'm extremely isolated. I feel a lot of contempt towards the absurdity of human existence. I'm certainly not any brand of genius, but I don't think you have to be in order to recognize the pig-ignorant nonsense that so many of our lives happens to be rooted in. Boris is unapologetic in his contempt for people, and sometimes I am too. Unfortunately, Boris comes off as a cartoon of the misunderstood genius, just as Melody comes off as a cartoon of a warm, if not so educated, southern girl, and her mother comes off as a cartoon of the uptight, arch-conservative Christian southern woman. Or, like Boris's friends, are cartoons of academics, and so on and so on and so on. See, nobody really talks like this, nobody really acts like this, and everything is exaggerated for impact. It's a big weakness in the film to me, so I don't believe in these people. I believe in people like them, but not these ones in particular. Each character is a cipher, a mental shortcut to a stereotype. I'm sure this is by design, as at one point Melody says something about cliches being useful to prove a point. And I think that's exactly what Allen was shooting for here, making these overwrought characters to prove a point, to be proxies not just for himself, but for ideas and values he wants to comment on. I get it. I just think Allen sets up a bunch of pretty weak straw men to beat on, instead of going after more complex manifestations of his grievances. I like the asides that Boris has with the audience, where he breaks the fourth wall and engages us directly, even insisting to others that we are there watching, a notion that the other characters will just laugh off. Allen does this all the time in his films, but I find the idea of living life as if there is an unseen audience interesting. When I was a younger man, I lived my life as if I was a character in a novel. And it sounds really stupid, but it's true. And I made choices which made for interesting narratives, interesting character arcs for myself. Those were interesting times, but one has to face the notion that a good narrative is not the same thing as a good life. Destructive choices almost always make for better choices, better stories. And at some point, though, you have to realize that the other people in your life aren't just characters in your book. They are other human beings living out their lives as well, and hurting them to make a good arc is fucked up and selfish. I have a feeling that Woody Allen struggles with this concept. Another point I relate to Boris on is the conflict between his need for isolation and his drive to engage the world regardless. Another point I relate to Boris on is the conflict between his need for isolation and his drive to engage the world regardless. He knows he's this negative force, this abusive dick who drags the light kicking and screaming out of the room and stamps it out with ferocity. He knows he should stay away from people, and yet he can't. It's a tough thing to reconcile, the knowledge that you are a toxic influence, and yet you need human contact. The purpose of the film seems to be to tell us that in a world full of unspeakable sadness, violence, absurdity, insanity, despair, disease, failure, and depravity, you need to cling to every bit of happiness you can get and not question the source of it too much. Don't sweat it if people understand. You're getting a nice slice of joy in a grim universe, and you should take it. Whatever works, right? Whatever keeps the fear and emptiness away. It's not really a theme you can argue with, until you remember that the guy telling you this is married to his daughter, and allegedly sexually assaulted his stepdaughter. It's in this attempt to draw some connection with these things like gay rights, polyamory, and other alternatives to the heteronormative culture virus to his own personal circumstances as a creepy abuser that make me want to vomit a little bit while watching this movie. I understand, and he wrote it back in the 70s, but all that really tells me is that he was already rationalizing his unhealthy appetites back then. Now, somebody can tell me that it takes two to tango, and his relationship with Sun Yi is consensual, and she is technically his adopted daughter. Fair enough. But I'm adopted, and the thought of fucking my parents makes me want to rip my brain out, douse it in kerosene, and set it ablaze. Parent-child relationships are inherently built on a power imbalance. The parent has the power. We don't let doctors fuck patients, for example. We frown on people abusing power dynamics to fuck people. We call that rape. So why is this okay again? Oh, right, because the world is scary and you need to get all the happiness you can, even when that happiness is found in your daughter's vagina. Even when the happiness you're getting may come at the expense of someone's soul. For these reasons, I find this film utterly repellent. As a culture, we need to stop putting our geniuses on the kind of pedestals Boris puts himself on. We need to stop tolerating their abuse because they are special snowflakes and we can never understand what drives them. It's amazing that people heap praise upon a guy for developing this cinematic justification for his own depravity, and he attempts to draw equivalency between being gay or polyamorous and fucking your own daughter. It plays right into the arguments of religious idiots the world over. If we don't hold the line on the faggots and the pedos, the incest freaks are next. Way to go, Woody. Thanks for dialing back civil rights. So the bottom line is this. Fuck Woody Allen and fuck this movie. Get your happiness, but never ruin someone else's. I get it. You selfish fucking pervert.
Man, Dave, I want to hear you review a Polanski film.
Holy shit, Dave! Wow. I mean, so you are not a fan of Allen's films at all.
I love Allen's films.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Like I enjoyed this movie in a way.
Don't get me wrong.
What do you mean? Don't get me wrong. There's Woody Allen's art, and there's Woody Allen as a person.
Okay, right. Okay, fine. But he obviously, look, I mean, the genius of him, I guess, is that every film is essentially a piece of him. You know, every character, whether it's him playing the main character or not, is essentially him. Whether it's Mia Farrow in The Purple Rose of Cairo or John Cusack in what is that? The Bullets Over Broadway. or Larry David here and Whatever Works. These main characters are basically a piece of him, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you watch these movies and they're obviously very personal. This one is obviously personal. Dave, you have a big problem with it because it's about in a sense there's about sexual perversion.
Well, I think what it is it's Woody Allen saying, "Hey man, whatever gets you through the night, right?"
Right.
But there's a line, right? And I think maybe I don't know exactly where the line is. I'm not an expert in where that line is, but I think it starts somewhere before putting your dick in your daughter. I'm just saying. And Woody Allen's real genius is in the fact that he's able to do all the things he's done in his life, and there are no shortage of people who are willing to line up and celebrate this fucking toxic piece of shit human being.
Right.
A
la Michael Jackson.
It's unbelievable to me. And again, hey man, whatever. I love Danny Hall. Fucking whatever. I don't get our society. I don't get, and I'm bothered by the fact that even back then he was scheming like, how do I convince people that this is okay? How do I convince people that me fucking rocket launching past the line of appropriate and dignified human behavior in a way that is just shockingly gross is okay, right? Like, because that kind of seems to be the intent here. And I'm annoyed. Actually, I'm more than annoyed. I'm disgusted that he tries to connect like, well, hey, you know what? This guy's gay. Whatever works. Hey, you know what? She's into two dudes. Whatever works. Hey, you know what? Fucking dogs. Whatever works. Hey, fucking kids, whatever works. Like, I'm annoyed that's not the same. These aren't the same thing. And in the movie, like, they literally talk about, oh yeah, fucking dogs, sure, why not? Fuck a dog, like it's totally fine. You can fuck a dog, why not? Whatever works. and he just seems to not understand that there's like whatever works in terms of, hey, consensual, somewhat healthy human relationships and coercive rape, and I don't think he gets the or coercive domination, manipulation, and using your power over another human being to make them do things to your dick.
Well, do you find it like, do you get more disturbed at what he's doing, what he's putting down here on the screen, or the fact that, like you said, that he's celebrated by so many, Dave, and I mean you celebrate him. I'm certain.
Man.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I mean, like, you have to be a little bit disgusted within yourself. That you're like watching his movies, enjoying them, so to speak, right?
I discuss it with myself all the time for any number of things.
Right, as am I.
But in this, like in this instance, right, when we talk about Woody Allen and it's fucking insane to me. It's absolutely fucking insane to me that people buy this, like that people buy this attitude and people buy this, like, well, he's a genius. What are you gonna do? They're special.
It's like he's getting a pass in
they're different than us.
His social behavior and responsibilities.
Yeah, we couldn't possibly understand the appetites these people have. We couldn't possibly understand, because the world is so bleak and dark and no, it's all coming down all around me. You couldn't possibly understand, why I need to fuck kids, or you know what I mean? Like, exactly.
Right. And that's the thing with the Boris character. It's like, and I kind of get and listen, I like this film because it does make you think. It really does. It makes you think about a lot of things. And the thing with Boris is that he is a super genius who's just kind of, he insists on disconnecting himself, like you said, from the world, from society, from people, and yet he still kind of like like he's like right there on the bubble, you know what I'm saying? Because you know that in a sense he wants to be a part of this all. And the thing about a genius is that it's really selfish to just kind of downplay. This is what I hate about like the artsy types, those really, you know, hipster smart people that just think that they're just so fucking far intellectually advanced than everyone, that and nobody is worth their time. It's really obnoxious, because if you have this unique ability to outsmart people, to outthink people, you know, it's something that you could share with the rest of the world. You could help people learn. You know, and that's the funny thing about Boris, is that he's teaching kids chess, and he could really do good here, and yet he just belittles the children.
I loved that, actually. I thought that was really funny. I thought it was hysterical.
But it is hysterical, but there's a mindset there that's coming from Woody Allen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That he's just saying, well, there's all these simpletons and cretins and whatnot, and they, you know, they're so far beneath me. And you're right, you're on it, Dave, because it's basically about Woody Allen saying, about his own behavior, about his own personality, that, well, listen, you can't possibly understand what my wants are, and my wants are the needs of a genius, so I'm gonna satisfy them any way I can.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like I said, I think if I didn't know this was a Woody Allen movie, which is impossible because you can't watch it and go, oh, that's, you know, this is clearly not a Woody Allen movie. Like you couldn't. There's no way you could mistake it for somebody else's movie. But let's just assume that I'm in some alternate universe where I have no idea what a Woody Allen movie, you know, looks and sounds like. Yeah, I could have said, okay, yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It was okay. You know, I had a good time watching it. It was funny. There were some funny moments. It was interesting. It made me think. Whatever. But as soon as you put Woody Allen into the frame, you know, it starts to be about something else.
Right. Hey, listen, Max and Adam, I got to get them both in. I'm going to shoot to you, Adam, first, only because you're probably in a more uncomfortable position than Max is right now. But hey, what's your take on Dave's intro, our little discussion we just had, and your take on whatever works? Just go ahead, shoot, get out there, throw some ideas at us, man.
Well, you know, it's funny. I really enjoyed the movie. I'm a fan of Woody Allen, although I can't say that I've seen a lot of his recent films over the years, the past, you know, decade.
Right.
And I enjoyed this. This was also the third of the three that I watched. So after the first two, man, it was like, here's a movie. You know, this is a movie. This is well written. As far as, you know, everything else you're saying regarding Woody Allen, you know, it's not that you're wrong. I guess on a personal level, I don't invest that deep. I don't look past it, past the movie, I guess, to go to that place where it's like, yeah, but then if you put the spin on it of who's doing it, it's kind of vile. Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's a dark place.
Yeah. Maybe that's exactly why I don't. But
he's right. He's right on, and I totally see what he's saying. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I kind of see that, you know, Adam. I mean, you're watching whatever works. I mean, you it has to settle there in your mind, at least for a few seconds, about who he is, especially when you're watching this relationship between Boris and Melody. You know, you have to think about it at least briefly, right?
Only in the context that obviously this is this person's theme. This is this artist's theme, and it's been there since I was watching Woody Allen movies when I was a kid and was introduced to Mary L. Hemingway. You know, and it's like, so that's just kind of, you know, that's just to me Woody Allen, and that's what he puts out there.
The character might be 21 in this movie, but the way he's dressing her, I mean, the pigtails and the knee-high socks. Oh my God, these things drive me crazy, Max, for crying out loud. I'm getting hot and bothered just thinking about it, man. You know, it's insane. Max, what's your take on what we're talking about here?
Well, listen, I mean, Dave's review introduction blew my head off, as did the Gummo one, because subtextually I was thinking so many of the same things he was, but I wasn't there if and when Woody fucked Mia Farrow's daughter in the attic. I wasn't there. I mean, the Soon Yi thing, I'm not involved in these people's personal lives.
Okay.
And I do understand that Woody Allen is a very sick fucker, and I just admire Dave's boldness to go to that point with the film, because it really put the film in a different perspective for me, because I actually enjoyed this the most out of the three films. And I thought Larry was a great muse for Woody. So, yeah, I agree with Adam in the fact that, yeah, I guess I shouldn't be watching this film not thinking about did Woody finger bang Mia Farrow's daughter in an attic. But I also do see the perversion. I also do see the fact that these themes are pretty reoccurring in the film. But if I had to tuck things away, which I hesitate to do now, especially after all the stuff Dave said, if I was just to look at it as a film, I thought it was really rich, and I thought that the dialogue was hilarious. I loved every time Boris opened his mouth. Like, it's so funny. Again, the delivery, it was sectional. Like, people aren't overlapping. Boris just launches into this stuff, and for some reason, again, I don't mean to say that Larry David is a bad actor, but he really does feel like he's just reciting this dialogue, but somehow, some way in that X Factor Larry David way, he gets away with just spouting off the dialogue and making it interesting. And
right.
all the stuff that Boris was saying, I loved, and I thought was really, really funny. And, you know, I love the choices that everyone was making. And listen, the Ed Begley stuff came on really strong and really fast, but I think that's Woody attempting brevity in kind of wrapping that up. But
left field, right? I mean, just out of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, it's written very much as a stage play, really.
It feels like a play to me. I mean,
and not only, but here's the thing:
that fourth wall break.
That screenplay was initially written in the 70s, like Dave said, and the initial focus was a Southern family relocates themselves to New York, and they all become different people. You know, that was his initial vision of what Whatever Works was supposed to be. Now, somehow, over the last couple decades, it changes just a tad, you know, at least the main theme changes. I mean, that idea is still there because all that happens, but the focus is more on a relationship between a young lady and a much older man. So, you have that. Max, what's really, you talked about this a couple times over the past couple weeks here with Larry David about his acting. Now, we all know that he's no great thespian by any means. You know, what he does on Curb Your Enthusiasm works well because he's basically just being the kind of person he would love to be out in the real world. But what Woody Allen does here with him and what's her name, Evan Rachel Wood, is that I don't know if you guys could. I know Dave is just going to get annoyed that I'm saying this, but during this relationship, you kind of see it, you kind of see how it could work for like a brief period of time where you see this genuine love for two people, or at least a bond or a respect between two people. And then toward the end, Woody Allen does a really great job at just capturing the disconnect between the two. And I think that this is fabulous writing and excellent directing for such a little film of his, you know?
There's no question. There's no question about any of that. And I think that's what's really fucking interesting in a way about the movie is that, you know, the relationship between these two characters, I mean, I guess that I kind of portrayed it as unlikely, but it's not really as unlikely as one would think. I mean, the idea of this sort of older mentor, grooming the young woman, this is not new. This is not a fresh concept.
Women like that.
Oh yeah, man. And
well, hold on. You know plenty, Max. You know plenty of women that are looking for an older mentor, so to say.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like there's no.
It's rampant.
See, like
a mentor or someone that's financially stable. There's a difference.
Well, Boris had taken a financial hit living in that place that he was, but the fact that she came at him guns a-blazing first and foremost about money. And he's like, I'm not giving you fucking money. But there was instantly an ignition. Once again, a combustible flame in the Larry David scheme where, and it's cinematic and it's fairy tale like and it grabbed Boris. But the point is like this young, beautiful woman, which, we're supposed to buy this. It's a fucking fantasy, man. And yes, Dave is so right, though. We are in Woody Allen's fantasy head.
Right.
We're having a fantasy about a young, beautiful have you ever seen a homeless woman that attractive?
Yeah, well, not that attractive, not that attractive, but I will say this in my world, Max. Last year there was a pretty attractive homeless girl roaming around my small city here that I would run into at the bus stop, and there were moments. No, listen, I'm being dead serious about this. There were moments where she would always ask me, for money, or like, I'd be sitting outside of a bar at night and smoking a cigarette. She'd always talk to me and everything. And trust me, it ran through my mind a few times where I'm just like, I should just have this girl, like, tell her she can stay at my place,
Tom,
clean her up.
Yeah.
What?
Why didn't you do that?
I don't know why I don't do these things.
Invite her into your home. Let her change your home like Evan Rachel Wood
did. But here's the thing, that like it's such a small town, Max, that the police were always, bothering her and like taking her, down to the station.
How the police, no matter what, are just horrifying. It's an amazing theme we got.
But it's a small town, man, and like, if all of a sudden they saw her coming in and out of my apartment, plus I rent from the retired captain of the police force here in this town. It's like all these thoughts go through, and me, I'm a mess anyway mentally. All these thoughts go through my head. I kind of shun the idea, man. But it's again one of the million moments of my life where I go back and I'm like, fuck, Tom, fuck, why don't you just
do you think she had enough street smarts at that point to con Boris? Do you think she was a con young woman?
That's a great question, but he was he wasn't a rich man or anything. I mean, would you lay that heavy of a con on someone like that just for a place to live, so to say? I think in the dialogue and what we see on screen, I think she genuinely has feelings for her. I think she's a confused, unintelligent person.
You mean you think she has genuine feelings for Boris?
For him, yeah. Correct. Did I say her? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no con there. This isn't an episode of Sons of Anarchy. No one's playing anyone.
Hey, don't mess around with Sons of Anarchy, Adam.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, you just ruined me for the rest of the episode. Thanks.
Sorry, but no, there's no con there. It's pretty clear in the writing that's
it's a great question. I mean, because it's to step back and think maybe that there was an angle there that I missed as a viewer. I mean that would be
Adam, we were at the restaurant the other night at Tom's Urban, and we were waited on by this lovely young black woman, and she had me and. But do you think she was playing it up, or do you think she was genuinely into our vibe? I mean,
don't you think they all play it up, no matter what, the situation?
I think you can distinguish. I think I can distinguish. Maybe I'm wrong, between a waitress or someone who is definitely looking to increase the tip and who's just a really good sport, and someone who doesn't. It's kind of like a new dynamic, and they're really kind of into the vibe and. Yeah, I think that, she definitely dug you, man. She let you give her basically a neck rub in the middle of the restaurant, so,
Oh!
Hey, I know what I'm doing sometimes, Tom.
Well, with the ladies, you do. And something, you want to help me out. You should spend a half an hour a week talking to me on the phone about my life with women, because, boy, I don't know what I used to be great. I'm 40. I'm no confidence anymore.
Listen, Tom, Max is smooth to the ladies.
I'm rolling quick down a hill.
What were you saying there?
I was saying that I said, Tom, that Max is smooth with the ladies. That would be a valuable half-hour weekly phone call.
I think I know. I've thought about it. Trust me.
As is Adam with the ladies. He's very smooth.
Well,
and, Tom, I mean, I think you need to get into eating pussy more.
Maybe you're right.
I certainly think that would help because they really enjoy that.
It's always been a problem with me, you know. I've never been a fan of it.
Tom,
Yeah.
how can you not go south and open those legs and look down at that pink glory and deny it? Why would you deny yourself? I mean, you're not even Italian. I heard Italians don't like eating pussy, and then they liked eating pussy. Or I heard that African American culture they don't like. But I've seen plenty of porn where black dudes jump in and eat that, lick up that tang.
Why are you breaking down ethnicities as to who likes and who doesn't like going down on a woman?
Because Tom is acting like.
Are we talking about what?
Tom is acting like. He's acting like a guy. Well, he is a guy that doesn't like eating pussy. Dave, where are you?
Yeah.
Dave, your face is covered in blood. It's not even you, but I assume that this is what you look like. Your Skype graphic is a guy smothered in blood with glasses, a fat Dahmer-esque character, which I know you don't look like that. But where are you on eating pussy?
I don't know. I didn't think this was a controversial place to be, but yeah, I'm all for it. You know?
It's not controversial. It's only because, you know, I don't like it. Like, I will not do it.
What's not to like?
A woman is producing sugar for you. A woman is producing liquid pearls for you. A woman is opening up. It's the honey pot. And you must slurp from the honey pot. Why? You're very, very odd, Tom.
I know.
I don't mean to take you on 2 episodes at a time, but fact
it's
that
fine.
You don't
it's fine.
Pussy is outrageous.
It's an enigma to me. What my problem is with this? 10 years ago, I had this beautiful, short, large, very large-breasted woman that was into me, and we dated for a couple of years. It was a very fulfilling relationship. She was smart. She was into art. She was with me when I wrote and directed my short film. She was a muse for me. And I was such a selfish prick. I wouldn't go down on her. And this would, I think, really bother her. It was one of the few reasons why I think we eventually, you know, disconnected from each other. But I wouldn't do it. I remember one night she was talking to me about it. And, you know, so later on that evening, I went down there and I was doing it, and she could tell that it just seemed more like it was one of the worst moments of my life. Yeah, it was one of the worst moments of my life. You know, I got the tap, and I'm just like, you know,
Tom, you got the tap? You didn't get
I got the tap
thin fingers through the hair grabbing your fucking head of hair?
Well, she was completely shaved, dude.
No, I'm talking about her hand upon your head.
Right. I know. And here's the thing,
it's very crazy.
And she would give the
Don't
best.
you want to inhale what she has to offer vapor-wise? Don't you want to see what she's got going on? Don't you want to inspect her cleanliness? Don't you want to, well,
the amazing thing is, Max, and this might be interesting to you, is that we broke up. And then we did that thing where we kind of like 2 or 3 weeks later, we, you know, saw each other, you know, we agreed to see each other. And then we kind of did that lingering, like, you know, thing for like 6 to 8 weeks where we were kind of together. And at this point, we were still having sex, and like, I was doing it, and I was like really like into it because I knew I had to be into it to try to keep her. And it was a complete.
Stand by, fellas. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hello? Who is calling?
Oh, hi. This is Travel Media. How are you?
Oh, Travel Media. It's my favorite place. Listen, can you do me a favor?
I sure can.
Can you listen? My wife signed me up at the Greek Theater, and I said to her, I wish you would not do that. And next thing you know, phone call after phone call after phone. Listen.
Okay.
What is no. What is your name? Victor, I'm sure you're a handsome fellow. I'm sure you're a lovely fellow. But for the love of fucking Christ, can you please take me off your list?
I sure will, and I will not call you.
Thank you, baby. Good night. You too. Bye-bye.
Victor from Travel Media. He's all peppy. Now that's a guy that probably loves to eat pussy, Max.
Tom, you've got to get into pussy. You've got to get into smelling it. You've got to get into tasting it. Tom, spread a woman's legs, lean your head back. It's going to be a workout for you. Erect your neck and stare at the beautiful, heavenly... Adam, help me out here.
Yeah, Adam, help him out.
Hey, listen, I'm
Dying in the water.
in favor of it.
Some pal you got there,
Yeah.
Max.
Way to cover my ass.
I'm saying I'm in favor of it.
Hey, man.
Where are you at?
This in a bag.
I know.
I
I'm taking
got
it.
pissed again, and I'm worried the bag is too filled.
Dude, he sent me a picture of that bag. It is full. It's about to explode.
Now what am I gonna do?
I don't know. We got to get you out of there as soon as possible.
Oh my God, that dude has to get out of his car, Tom. Wrap it up, Larry David.
I am gonna wrap it up.
Tom, I just need to know something.
Yeah.
Where are you at on eating ass?
Oh, that
Great
I would never. You could never.
Tom, you're out of your
consider
mind. Tonguing a woman's shithole is
No, that's just insane.
Tom,
That's no.
tasting
I've
the
never-
sweet salt of a...
I never even fucked a girl in her ass, Max.
You've never
You're
done the
outrageous.
dirt pipe?
You're outrageous.
No.
Tom, you're really... Tom, you need therapy.
So you've never gone and set the GPS destination dirt pipe? This is where we're going.
No, man. No, I've never gone that route. It's never even occurred to me to do it.
Tom,
either.
a woman's poop hole is like...
And I've never been with a woman that said, "Can you please just fuck me in the ass right now?" I've never even had that hasn't even happened.
Tom, you take your index finger on your right hand and you tickle the sphincter and she will be wild. She will soil up for you, man.
What did the lesbians say? 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink?
T.O.D.
I had a conversation with Michael Bean about that once, but that's another story.
About eating ass?
About 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
You have to tell that story, Dave.
That's about it, really. We had a conversation.
I bet Michael Berryman...
That's still a great story.
I still can't believe I had him on tape saying 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink. So,
I bet
great.
our friend Michael Berryman, with a Sapporo in his hand, has had his tongue so far...
Could you imagine that? Oh
so
my God.
far up the dirt holes of sweet, wonderful women who just want their rectums tickled. Tom,
Imagine.
you're weird. I will never understand you.
Why? Because. Oh, please, Max.
Tom, how about this? Let's take it down.
All right.
Think about Joe and his leg thing. Now let's get down to the feet. And I think the counselor can back us up on the feet thing. If a woman walks around all day in her socks, now, next thing you know, it's 6 p.m. and she has her feet in your lap. You pull off her socks and you take one foot, her left foot, let's say, and you hold it up to your nose. You take in a little scent of the day of walking she has done. You don't like that? You don't want to.
No.
And you're not thinking. You're not thinking, Tom.
Well, I kind of have. What?
Let me finish. You're not thinking behind the scent of her foot. Oh my God, there is a going on in her pussy. There might be a little bit of a pocket opening. Like her labia is swelling, Tom. Do you know that a labia swells when it's aroused?
I am.
Did you know that?
I am. No. I guess. I don't know. What the fuck? Can somebody help me? Where's Joe?
I'm in favor of it.
Oh my God.
Tom, you know what I didn't do? I didn't start screaming at you.
No,
I feel
time.
for you, brother.
Well, you feel sorry for me.
No, the fact that you are unaware of a labia swelling helped you with me. I was like, oh, poor Tom. He's like a little kid.
I am.
He's like a little kid in dirty overalls.
Listen, one day we have to talk about just what my whole dysfunction is. Like, I mean, I love sex, and I think I perform it well, and I'm into it. Like, every girl that I've been with, they seem satisfied. You know, I really love it. I get into it. But I was a late bloomer. You know, I have a lot of mom issues. You know we've just.
Tom, give us one mom issue before we go. What's one Patty thing that fucked you up? She don't listen.
I've said this before. It was the fact that I would have to hear her having sex with men in the other room.
Yeah.
It just totally ruined.
I had that, Tom. I walked in on gentlemen callers entering.
My brother recently reminded me that I went in one time. This is when I was about 14 or 15, when I'd had enough of it. You know, at that point, you don't need to hear that shit because you're starting to get a little confused anyway, about, well, not confused, but you're starting to get a little, you're starting to become sexualized, at 14, 15. And my brother said, I don't even remember doing this. Like, it's so fucked up because I must have blacked it out of my mind that my mom came back from the bar. She was banging some dude in her bedroom, right next door to our bedroom, fucking wall, boom, 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 her screaming. I remember it all. My brother said I had enough. I'd had enough. I got out of my bed, went into the bedroom, kicked open the door, and told her to fucking knock it off. He said I screamed at the top of my lungs.
Tom, I did the same fucking thing with my mom. But listen, man, you got to think clear history. You have to delete that series of files from your brain. You have to say to yourself, you know what? I forgive my mother. She was selfish at the time. She didn't realize that I was in the other room. And you just have to let that shit go.
She did realize I was in the other room.
You have to let that
fuck that I was in the other room.
Let Patty have her fun. She needed to get porked hard that night. And you need to let that go. And you need to forgive her.
You.
And you need to cleanse your palate. Cleanse your palate and not sweat that shit. Mom needed something at the time. You said in the last show that, well, you didn't say it on the show, but you said, Dad's dead to me. Okay, well, maybe Patty had a lot of shit going on with your dad and her, and, she's trying to Tom, was she a bad mom? Did she not love you?
I don't think that she didn't love me. I just think that she was unconcerned about being a mother. She wasn't.
Hey, man, I can identify with that. 100%. You're talking to a latchkey kid. You're talking to a guy who lived on frozen dinners because mom was out. But
hear frozen. You're lucky to even have that. Sometimes we didn't even have the electricity on. Sometimes.
Oh well. Hey Tom, you know what? That's the past, man. The past don't exist anymore.
I hear you,
the
and
past
I
don't exist anymore. And
to be honest with you, the only time
Patty made in the past don't exist anymore. Here's Patty today, and you know what she did? She posted on Facebook about her boys' podcast. She said, hey, listen to my son on the cutting room. You know what I mean? These are the things you got to – this is all that matters now, Tom. That past shit, you got to cut that cord.
I got to cut it. I know, but it's just – God, Max, it's impossible. It's impossible. This is why I need help. I need to talk to someone. I need to talk to a professional. I know. And I think this is the one thing that is holding me back in everything in my life. I think you're onto something here that I can't fucking forgive that. I don't know what it is.
But Tom, you know that forgiveness is not about letting the other person off the hook. Forgiveness is all about yourself, and it's just about putting down that dead weight. You're carrying dead weight around. You got to put it down.
Tammy
but how?
I'm carrying a dead person on my back.
How do you do it? How do I wake up, Adam? I mean, is it a process? I mean, do I wake up tomorrow morning and go, you know what? I'm just going to be over this. I mean, how do you go through? I don't even know how to go through the process. It's so distorted in my head. It's
sure
confusing.
I do a lot of drugs. That's mostly how I do.
I do. I have done a lot of drugs. I have. I drink a lot. I drink to blindness.
So talk to somebody about how to take that first step, because everyone's an individual. Like, you're going to have to find your own, whatever that step is that you need to take. Once you're on the trail of it, man, just stay on the trail of it, because then you build momentum. It gets easier and easier and easier, but you got to find where that starts. So
I need healing.
Go talk to someone, man.
He's right. I need healing about this.
Tom,
and
let me tell you something that I think may be helpful to you, because I'm a huge skeptic about therapy and about all that bullshit. I don't trust it. I didn't like it. I still really kind of don't. But at one point, not too long ago, I literally just got up and said, if I don't go to this like fucking group meeting that I'm just gonna walk into blind, if I don't go make a step like that, I'm gonna die.
Steps.
But I seriously was like, I am going to die if I don't do this. If I don't make some kind of attempt, because maybe I'm going to find out that it's exactly like I thought and it's all bullshit. Maybe that's what I'm going to find out. But I'm like, if I don't do something, if I don't attempt to do something to improve myself as a human being, to not be sort of where I'm at, I'm gonna die, and that's what it really came down. Like I mean, I would have, I have moments where like if I just go and sit by myself, and I had a night that my wife and I were on vacation. We were at a cottage, and I spent the night in one of the bunk houses because we were upset with each other or whatever. And the next day, she said she was afraid to come into the bunkhouse because she thought she'd find me dead. And she's always scared of finding me dead. And I don't know how to process that, like putting somebody else through that, like never mind me now. It's like putting another human being through that and kids and all this other stuff. That's heavy. And that's when I really decided, I'm like, man, I'm going to go to this crazy group therapy thing and give it a shot. And, can I say that it always, that I always leave feeling better? I don't know. Can I say that it's helping me? I don't know. A lot of times it really drives me crazy, and the therapy talk really drives me nuts sometimes still. But I'm sticking with it because what else, man? I'm gonna die. Yeah. I'm gonna die, right? Well, so it's this or put the very few people left in my life through a really bad time, and I just had to make a decision, and it wasn't easy. I feel stupid every time I go. I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I'm going to this fucking stupid therapy thing. And I sit there and sometimes people say shit and they drive me crazy. I'm just like, God, you fucking attention whores. You sit here and fuck, it drives me crazy. And I know that's horrible to say. I know that's a horrible thing to say about these other people in therapy. But sometimes it's just like, I don't know if anybody else has done group therapy or anything like that. But when you get those people who just want to monopolize the whole fucking thing, and you're just like, shut the fuck up, for Christ's sake, let somebody else fucking talk for once, for Christ's sake. And there's a real there's a whole no, seriously, there's a real like therapy. I don't know, these people who like therapy as lifestyle people that I have a hard time with. But fuck them, just fucking ignore those people, and focus on the people that aren't like that, and that you can.
Sounds like everyday life.
Yeah, well, it is, except you're trapped in a room with a bunch of people, and you start to realize, like what I started to realize. One of the things that really blew my mind was how relatively not fucked up I am. That was big, man. That was big. When you hear these people
I could see how that could be personally enlightening.
Well, it's like, man, I'm functional. I can go to work most days. I I'm not having like the cops coming out to my house and dragging me off to the psych ward, knock on wood.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not at that point. And
Jeez, Dave, psych ward. I just have issues with eating pussy here.
no, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because I'm not a therapy guy. I'm not a Yahoo, let's get on board for the big win with therapy, like I fucking avoided it for most of my goddamn life.
Well, I think the one great thing about the Cutting Room Movie podcast is that it seems like one big group therapy session.
With
that being said, guys, thanks a lot for everything. You guys did a great job the past couple weeks. We're done with Larry David, Woody Allen, all that. It's been a blast. The Cutting Room Movie Podcast is brought to you by Christiana Productions and New Media Limited. The show is edited and co-produced by Joseph Schreck and produced by Thomas Detloff and Joe Christiana. You could like us on Facebook at the Cutting Room Movie Podcast and follow me on Twitter, Thomas Detloff, at TCRM Podcast. You can also check out Joe's film work at ChristianaProductions.com. You can check out Max Cook's new blog, MaxCookUncorked.com. Check that out. He just started it. He's rolling with it. He loves it. We love it. Max and Adam's Bowler Hat Productions and their Mimosa Podcast Show. Check that out. MaxCookandTheCounselor.com. Dave Pace is now a contributing writer at Rue Morgue Magazine. You could look for his work over there. And you can also check out his blog on horror media politics, La Politique Psychotronique at psychotronique.anidealforliving.com. Music from The Cutting Room is done by the Zillatones. Check them out at www.thezillatones.com or search for the Zillatones at ReverbNation.com. We will be back next week with our first episode of our 2-week Halloween Spectacular. This is a big time of year for Mr. Max Cook, and he's going to be designing 2 Halloween programs. And we're going to kick it off with a new DVD release review of the 2014 film Serial Killer Culture.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get... I think, Dave, you're doing that, right? I think so, right, Max? You got Dave on that?
Ah.
And then,
I'm on it.
And then Joe and I are going to be doing a couple classics. It's going to be a good time. It's Halloween. Hopefully I'll get a couple of good guests. Until then, we are over, and we are pro wrestling free tonight. Ciao.